Hello and welcome to this review for the new Lego Up House that was just released. Now, I wanted to make a review because this has become quite the popular set since it seems Lego underestimated at least initial demand. It's currently sold out on the Lego store. And having seen that, when I saw it in my local Toys R Us in Canada, I just bought it, no question. I thought at least I'd get a fun experience building a house since houses are my favorite type of Lego. It turns out I'm a bit underwhelmed by it all. And if anybody out there hasn't bought it yet and is wondering if they should, and it's wondering if worse paying aftermarket prices, I'm recommending you don't do that. And I'm here to show you exactly what it entails so that you have a really good idea of what it is and to see if you are indeed missing out or not. So we'll get to the minifigures first, just so we get those out of the way. So it comes with Carl Fredrickson, Russell, and Doug. So here we have Carl, who's looking rather grumpy. It didn't focus very much. Oh well. So this is Carl. There's a fun use of the roller skate here to make a small little build for his king. Of course, it'd be fun if it was colored yellow here to present the tennis balls, but what can you do? He also has a nice little detail here of the pin made of a bottle cap that Ellie had given to him. And by the end of the film, our Carl starts to smile. So here he is. Here's his alternate face. Here is a smiling Carl for you. Oh, come on. That's focusing. Very nice. Good. For Russell, speaking of like the printings for the torso, wow, Russell's got you covered. So here's Russell. Let's see if you can get that looking good. So it's really, really well done. All the different pins he's got for his scout. I'm making him hold a compass. That's a second one that you get. There's another one inside the house, and that's a printed piece as well. He looks super happy here. His alternate face is him looking slightly less happy. I'll show that to you in a moment. I do find it fun how even though these are very stylized Pixar characters, Lego's able to make that style come across the best they can using the fact that, they have the same kind of dimensions of the faces. So this is his happy face. I guess slightly less happy, but he's a very cheerful guy. And yeah, he's made of he's on the shorter side so that he can be like, he's a little kid legs here. That's, molded with different plastic. Here in the back, there was this fun little build to make for his backpack. He's got his cup. He's got some binoculars, pot, and just a bunch of stuff for his survival kit in his backpack. All right, now we've got Doug, which is I would say a very, very nice mold. And see, while the other ones are not stylized, this one very much is. He's very much recreating the same dimensions as he is in the Pixar film. This is Doug. There's also a side build where it's like a helium station where the balloons are being blown up, and there's a little squirrel guy, and there is the mailbox, which is the inciting incident of the film, and makes Carl, gives him this final reason to leave his house, with the helium balloons. I'll get to the house because anything I showed you so far, didn't mind, was fine. The house is where I have an issue. Not necessarily an issue, but more like it's not what I expected. I expected when I have a house, at least in Lego, I expect something like the cozy house where it's built not necessarily modular, but like you can access certain areas, and it's like a solid build for a house. This is much more of a facade, similar to like it's got more in common with the Friends and the Office set than it does with a typical Lego house, at least in my perspective, and I'll show you why. While it looks fun from the front, it's very, very thin. So you'll see. So there's not a lot of room to use. Like see, there's just like two bricks, the length of two bricks here, right, to pose a figure, and the back I would say is just quite ugly. So like you've got this whole area for the chimney, right, with the exposed underside. You've got these exposed underside of the bricks, and it's just very thin. There's not the building of the plates for the roof was very, very simplistic. I was surprised. I was really surprised. It's very bare bones. Another example of how bare bones stuff is, and I'll take it out here. By the way, while I do take it out, they don't seem to be made to be taken out at all. Like, it seems very a bit like, especially this one. If this one gets taken out, it's tricky to put back in because you have to like find your way within, right? This one I can, because after you could just fix it here, but it still doesn't seem to be made to be taken out. Same for this area. These you can. I'm going to show you how I can take them out. So you can, but it's still a weird way to access. Usually you would take out the roof. In any case, I find the weather vane to be very, very simplistic. I see it's just a normal pull, like we've had all these years, and that's about it. And I find it odd that they used here a circular, I've called brick, but like the fact that this one has a hole means that if you press it down, it will collapse down and it won't create the effect you want. I found it odd that you wouldn't have one to just make it stop. In any case, that's that. There's the balloons. I'll get to the balloon builds at the end. What I do want to show you for now is, like, while I am, crapping all over this house, it's more to show you, what to expect, right? It's not it's just meant to recreate some aspects of the film. And in terms of that, it works, but it's not something that you can necessarily play with very much. There's not a lot of playability with it, and there's no play features. Not that I expected them, but just that I expected some kind of house that you could live in. There's not much of that going on. It's just, cute little builds. So, for example, a cute little build is we've got this nicely, it looks like a quilted type bed. So there's that. That was a neat little build. It's very similar to the ones we had like in the Home Alone house. A little build of the TV, which is where they watched, Ellie and Carl would watch their old serials or their like little documentaries. You've got a little clock build, which I really appreciated, though this was actually probably one of my favorite parts. Of course, it's just a small aspect of this larger thing that I didn't care for as much, but I did appreciate this little build. This is a sticker, though, so it's the door. There's lots of stickers. The few prints are, for example, the compass, and I'll show you another one in a bit. Speaking of prints, I'll show you this, which is something I did not appreciate. Found it quite lazy for an expensive set. Like I said, I didn't say it yet, but my issue with this is that because it is a licensed set, it has that extra premium to it, or at least the Lego things that get sold at a premium, and clearly they have since it's sold out in the Lego store. And I mean, you'll see it. It ends up it's like they cheapen out for something that's expensive. Like, this is over 10 cents a brick at this price point. And for example, you have this book here, which is the same book we've had for lots of other sets. This is a sticker, and inside there is a print, but it's just a random print that says "Once Upon a Time," which is not related to this movie at all. It's nowhere in the film. So I found that very disappointing. Okay, so inside, I'll try to say exactly what I'm trying to say here. One thing that I do appreciate is that this was made while the building experience itself is not complex and there's not a lot to it. They did make it so that it tells a narrative, similar to the Home Alone house, where you have to wait till the last bag to get the mother comes back, and you have the part with the tree while the robbers come in really early. So they do that here as well. At least I think they're doing that. So, and here to take this apart, I'll show it to you. See, taking apart like this. So I'm not sure if that works. No, this doesn't. Yeah, I don't even know if this is intended to be roomed that way and to have some access. Probably. All right, it's probably made that way since there's no pegs here. But yeah, so that's how I removed it, just so I could show you a few things. So you do build this early on, and what you have like it's a triptych. It's a triptych where you have 3 sections, and they do tell a story. So in the first one here, you have a picture of Ellie when she's a little kid. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see it well. Yeah, after that, you have them married, and then you have her as an older lady, right, before she passes away. And then next to that is you have their dreams. Their dream of having the house on that cliff in South America. So that's recreated, and as you're doing that, if anybody, yeah, it does pull at your heartstrings. If you found the movie sad, you might be, reliving some of those moments. These are all stickers, though. Now, there is one fun print. I want to show it to you here. So if you remember in the film, they have like this, you'd call it a rainy day fund, but in this case, it's for their house in Paradise Falls. Not their house, but their trip in Paradise Falls. And the way it's done is it's two prints. One in the front, which shows Paradise Falls, and the one in the back, which is some money. So seeing it from the front, it looks like this money is inside the jar. So I thought that was rather smart. This I liked. This I enjoyed. That was a really nice detail. I'll put it back. There's a few other fun builds in here. So for instance, there's a gramophone that uses a miner's helmet. If I can bring it. I don't think the result is that great or convincing. Here, let me show it to you. That's it. Because it doesn't really. It's passable as a gramophone. Sorry, my critic, but I feel like such an uptight prick. But no, I just don't think it looks that great. So this is the miner helmet, and yeah, it becomes a gramophone, or at least attempts that. I don't think it achieves it too well. And yes, there is a little red bird that they do have in the film, and there's that other compass I was talking about. So that's basically the build. Like I said, basic sums it up. It is a very basic build. The only thing I didn't touch upon were the balloons, which is actually a pretty big part too. So there's two molds for the balloons, and I'll have them be in the background while I discuss them using the side build. So there's two types. There's a type here, they both have the same tops, but the bottoms are different. One here is almost like a mirror of the top, right? But it's reversed, and that gives it a more circular shape, while there's one where the bottom is more elongated, giving it more of almost like an oval or egg shape. And what I do find fun is that, here, if I can focus up, bring this forwards, they did find a nice mix of the styles and the colors to put all together. So I think that's a cool effect. I don't know why the one in the middle is clear, has a clear pull, when all the rest, technically there should all be affixed by string. That's why it's pulling it up. But it's not really much of a that's not a con. I'm just expressing something I didn't really understand. So I just want to show you what it looks like. So we'll do a little 360 of that. And we'll do a 360 of the house one last time. So I'll bring this down. And I'll turn it. So you'll let me know if this helps at all. If this helps, remove that fear of missing out, or if it just doesn't help at all. In my case, I don't know. I guess I would have liked to know that this was more of a facade than a full-on house build, even though it's not too many pieces. But still, I somehow expected a bit more playability with this, which I didn't get. But that's just my opinion. You'll let me know what you think. All right, take care, guys. All the best.